They say shadows only follow the living. But what if yours decided to live without you? The valley of Velenor had forgotten sunlight. For half a century, clouds hung heavy like memory itself. The mountains circled the village like prison walls, their peaks black against a violet sky. No one remembered the last dawn, but the villagers had learned to live by candlelight. They whispered old names to the fire and painted suns on their doors to remind themselves that warmth once existed. And among them lived Ilara, a painter whose hands smelled of turpentine and sleep. She had never seen daylight, yet every canvas she touched burned with gold. Her paintings were her rebellion against darkness, a promise she could never explain. When she painted, her candlelight bent strangely. The shadows behind her didn't just move. They watched. One gray morning, Ilara awoke before the bells. Her window was white with mist. The world was still. She stretched, reached for her paintbrush, and froze. The sunlight through the curtains, what little there was, fell across her hands. But the wall beside her bed was empty. No shadow. She blinked once, twice, then slowly turned toward the mirror. Her reflection was there, but it was wrong. Colorless, faded, as if it were forgetting her. And when she turned away, something moved behind her. A shape on the floor. Her shadow stood there, upright, detached, and breathing. It tilted its head, her head, and whispered in her voice, "You left me here too long." The next day, her shadow followed her through the village, not attached, but beside her, like a twin that had learned to walk. When she turned to face it, it copied her with perfect grace, then continued walking forward. Children screamed. The priest shut his chapel doors. Ilara ran home and locked herself inside, but the shadow slipped under the door like smoke. When she looked again, it was sitting at her easel, painting. And what it painted was her. Her face, pale, eyes hollow, surrounded by a burning sky. When she whispered, "What do you want from me?" it only said, "To remember." Desperate, Ilara climbed the mountain path, the one no villager dared to walk. Wind tore her cloak, and lightning lit the ancient carvings along the rocks. At the summit stood the shrine of Elion, where the sun had last touched the world before it was sealed away by mankind's greed. Inside, the air shimmered with forgotten warmth. There, an old priest with silver eyes awaited her, as if he'd been expecting her since the dawn. He said, "Your shadow carries the weight of what you denied. It remembers the promise your soul made before it was born." "Then how do I stop it?" she asked. "You don't stop memory, child. You give it light." He handed her a mirror made of black glass. "When the two of you see the same truth, the sun will rise again." That night, Ilara returned to her home, the storm raging, her candles dying one by one. The shadow waited in the corner, its edges flickering like fire. She set the mirror between them. Her reflection stood between her and her shadow. 3 Ilaras, none complete. The shadow whispered, "You painted light to forget what you lost." Tears rolled down her cheeks. "I painted to remember what it felt like." Then the mirror cracked. Shards of black glass floated into the air like stars, and from the fracture, a blinding light poured out. Sunlight, pure and ancient, spilling across the floor. Her shadow reached out. So did she. When their hands met, everything dissolved. Darkness, fear, body, breath. For a heartbeat, she saw every life she had lived, every promise broken, every joy denied. And she remembered. The curse shattered. The mountains turned gold. The valley woke screaming in light. When the villagers opened their eyes, sunlight burned through the fog for the first time in 50 years. They ran into the streets, laughing, crying, blinded by beauty. But when they looked for Ilara, she was gone. Only a single painting remained on her easel. A woman made of light and shadow, standing hand in hand with herself, beneath a sun that was finally rising. And at the bottom, painted in trembling strokes, were the words, "We were never meant to fear our darkness, only to remember it."